All right, so I've got a few hands here. We're playing 1-3 at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. I'm under the gun too. I actually just got moved to the main game for this hand. And I had just played for like over an hour without seeing a single flop. Before that, I had like pocket fives and like a suited hand that I played from the big blind, and like just nothing really transpired yet. And I was starting to get like pretty annoyed, honestly. So when I saw ace of clubs, queen of hearts in under the gun 2, and we're playing 10-handed here, by the way, which I've only ever seen in Louisiana. But I see this hand, I got the ace of clubs, queen of hearts, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is playable. So, especially with the button straddle on, actually, I don't know if that makes it less playable or what, but I'm thinking I very well could have the best hand at the table, and I can't fold here, I don't think. I'm in pretty early position, but I could have folded. I actually really did consider it, but haven't played a hand in a while, and I decided to make it 30. So this is 5 times the straddle. I figure from out of position, this is about right. Otherwise, I'm gonna be playing from out of position, most likely here. So, anyways, middle position, low jack, and the cutoff all call. And the flop is the ace of hearts, 8 of spades, and 2 of hearts. I decided to check here because I don't see any merit to betting. I'm just gonna get, I'm gonna get probably everybody to call, and then we're gonna lose control of the size of the pot, and we're gonna have to fold out pretty often, like on turns. And if we get raised, we have to fold too. We're just gonna get blown off our equity if I bet here, like way too often. So I just decided to check. I should be checking about 100% of my range here, I think, anyways, in a 4-way pot. So anyways, it actually checks all the way through, and I'm like, okay, this is okay. Like, we'll take that. The turn is the 8 of clubs, and I know 4-handed there's still a really good possibility that somebody has an ace here, and they're gonna take the betting lead. So I check again, and it goes check, check, and the cutoff decides to bet on. He decides on a bet of 35. Obviously, I'm going to be calling here. I don't see a reason to raise, but middle position folds, hijack calls. Now I'm a little concerned, but he didn't raise, so. All right, river is the 3 of clubs. I check one more time. Not planning on folding here, but definitely, well, we could. It just depends on what transpires here. The hijack checks, and the cutoff checks back all the way. So I flip over my cards, and we are good. So let's get into the next one. By the way, the cutoff is like this Asian guy who, I think he's just kind of a gambling type, and he was like, I was trying to steal it. And I'm like, you're trying to steal it? In a 4-way pot, you're trying to bluff into 3 other people? I don't think I said that, but I was thinking it. I'm like, you're going to try to bluff 3 people? You don't think somebody has an ace here? I just thought that was kind of, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's get into the next hand. That's why these games are beatable, right? So, all right, next hand. Next hand. Button straddles on, under the gun and middle position, limp in. I have queen in the cutoff, and I open to 25. The button folds out his straddle, which is good news that we're going to get this one in position. The 2 limpers both call. No surprise there. And the flop is ace 8-7. So that's a kind of a bummer. And for the most part, I think if somebody leads out here, we're probably just done with this hand. But it checks to me, and I decide to check it back. I don't see any reason. We're just all we're doing if we bet is we're getting trapped by an ace, and then we're going to fold out everything that we're beating that might start bluffing at this on the turn. So I check it back. The turn is a 6, and when it checks to me again, I'm still thinking that, like, I don't love this, but I feel like I have to place a bet now. I go 35 here, and you know, there's about $80 in the pot, so this is like, it's like half the pot, a little less than half the pot, or about half after the rake. And I'm hoping or expecting to maybe get one caller, and both my opponents call. So the river comes, and it's an offsuit deuce, and when it checks to me a third time, I just don't see anything we're beating calling a bet here, so I just check it back. I'm very much expecting to lose to an ace here, even though my opponent's limped in. That's the only reason I bet on the turn, was my opponent's limped in. I was thinking about that, and they, you know, I don't know. I'm hoping that nobody has an ace. So when it goes check, check on the river, I'm happy to just turn over my cards, and we're good. All right, so the dynamic of this next hand, I think, is by far like one of the most interesting hands of the day. The low jack makes it 15. I'm in the hijack with king jack of hearts, and I'm thinking I should be 3-betting here. There's a couple limpers, by the way. Under the gun in middle position, both limped in. And so I am thinking this matters, because I'm thinking if I don't 3-bet here and they call too, then like we're in rough shape, basically. But I think it's king queen that's supposed to 3-bet, and I'm like, king jack suited, I just don't think it's enough. And so anyways, I just flat, and sure enough, the big blind calls, which means under the gun calls, and so does middle position. So we are going, what, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to the flop. Jesus. So the flop is queen of hearts, 4 of hearts, 4 of clubs, and the big blind donk leads here. In a quick backstory, this is one of the guys that, like, he way overvalues top pair, and if he connects with the board, he's pretty much never ever folding. He's like, dude, like, this guy is positive EV all day. And he leads out for 20, and you can see that's a mistake right there. He's not supposed to lead with anything at all. And it folds all the way to me, and I'm like, oh, perfect. I was worried that this was going to be a very difficult hand to play in a very inflated pot. And now we're going to a turn, and I'm like, I'm definitely not bluffing at this if I don't hit my flush here. Like, there's no way I'm bluffing at this guy, because he's going to take this all the way down to showdown, like, regardless, basically, if he's going to make it this far. And so anyways, the turn comes down, and it's not a heart, it's a diamond, but it's a king. So we actually just connected, and he actually checks to me, and I'm like, just like, please have something, because I cannot go without betting here. So I do bet. I bet 40, and he folds. So son of a gun, we had so much equity against literally anything he had. Probably, like, I was gonna say probably even hands that are beating us, but that's not true. I mean, and what's beating us at that point? With his range, not a whole lot. So yeah, and my image was a little tight, so maybe he's overfolding to me. I think even really moronic players can realize that still. So all right, that's that hand. All right, this is next hand. The straddle's on. Small blind folds, and I'm in the big blind with pocket kings, and I'm thinking about just like flatting the $6 straddle, and hopefully everybody will just flat call, and then I can just go all in. Um, but I'm like, no, not today. We can't take the risk of this flatting all the way through. I'm just like, I can't live with myself if that happens. And you know, it just, the variance is too high on that play, and my heart can't take it right now. So, so I bet 25, and middle position, I know there's gamblers that can totally relate to what I'm saying right now. Middle position is the call station that we just talked about in that last hand. He calls, and I'm like, okay, that's good, but like there's still a ton of people to act behind him. And I'm hoping this doesn't start a call train. But we're going heads up. Brilliant. This is literally best possible case scenario. We're out of position, but we're against like the best opponent we can possibly play this against. I think we have an advantage even out of position, especially definitely with kings. I know we have the best hand right now. So the flop comes down Jack 8-4, and I think I need to be checking 100% of my range here. Not that fucking he thinks about that stuff or anything at all, but I'm really hoping that he's gonna bet here, and because he totally might, knowing this opponent, but unfortunately he checks it back. The turn is a 6, and obviously we have to start out with a bet here because we can't have this check through again. And I bet 40, and he folds. So unfortunately, I think this guy probably is just not connecting against me, or possibly is over folding to me. I think he's just not connecting, but and with my tight image, I think he, you know, it's just, but at this point I'm like, that's not a bad thing. We're still winning the pots. But now I think we need to start bluffing at this guy, basically. Like, I think we need to be, like, bluffing at a higher frequency, because he's probably just going to fold. You know what I mean? So, all right. All right, kids, this is the last hand. So, I'm in the hijack, and I have 8-9 of diamonds. I'm sitting about 300 effective here, and I raise to 15. I got 4 callers here. So we're going 5 ways to a flop. That's actually not, like, I mean, like, in terms of implied odds, this is, like, helpful because I'm only playing 300 effective with a suited connector. So, in a $15 standard open. So I kind of, like, you know, that matters in terms of EV. And, so the flop is the 7 of hearts, Jack of clubs, 10 of spades. And it took me like a split second to realize this, but I am sitting here with the stone cold super nuts for now. So middle position leads out for 20, and I'm like, I'm thrilled because I'm just thinking of how much I'm gonna bet, and he bets for me, but that's not gonna be a large enough bet for me. So it gets to me, and I think this leaves us heads up. Like, he bets and it just folds to me. I'm definitely raising here. I make it $80, and he thinks about it very short before calling. And all I can think now, well, first of all, I was hoping that he would re-raise and we could just get it in, but now I'm like, uh-oh. We absolutely need a clean turn here. Like, I don't want to see an ace or a king, really, for the most part. Although, like, that doesn't necessarily mean we're folding, but we don't want to see the board pair either. In hindsight, I mean, I have that in my notes, but in hindsight, board pairing, I think we're okay because he's not, I mean, if he has a set, he would have just tried to get it in. He would have 3-bet the flop, right? So, in hindsight, I think the board pairing's okay. I mean, I'm not going to be thrilled if the fucking board pairs on the turn, but, anyways, the dealer goes to peel the turn, and I'm literally just praying in my head. And it's the 3 of hearts. I'm like, oh, thank God. He checks, and there's $175 in the pot right now, and I have 200 left behind, approximately. So I pop in the chip for the all-in, and he thinks for a little bit, and I'm just like, oh, please call, please call, please call, please call. I don't know what the fuck he had, but he did call. And the river is a 5 of spades, so obviously we're good because I don't know what he had. He mucked. I flipped my cards up right away when he called. No need to slow roll here. I have the nuts. And yeah, no need to show me, I guess. Doesn't matter. And that was the pot that really made my session right there. So, you know, patience is a virtue. And eventually you run into something nice. So, all right, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.